Hey, good morning. My name is Hennessy Skies and she is
Devlin Diaz.
You're watching GenJar News at 8 a.m. Today, we'll be talking about the Marshall Plan.
The Marshall Plan, also known as the European Recovery Program, channeled over 13 billion to finance the economic recovery of Europe between 1948 and 1951. The Marshall Plan successfully sparked economic recovery, meeting its objective of restoring the confidence of the European people in the economic future of their own countries and of Europe as a whole. The plan is named after Secretary of State George C. Marshall, who announced it in a commencement speech at Harvard University on June 5, 1947.
The plan promoted European economic integration and federalism and created a mixture of public organization of the private economy similar to that in the domestic economy of the United States. This reorganization of the European economy provided a more congenial environment for the American investment. Europe was devastated by years of conflicts during World War II. Millions of people had been killed or wounded. Industrial and residential centers in Europe, France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Belgium, and elsewhere lay in ruins. Much of Europe was on the brink of famine, and agriculture production had been disrupted by war. Transportation and infrastructure was in the shambles. The only major power in the world that was not significantly damaged was the United States.
The United States was already assisting European economic recovery with direct financial aid. Military assistance to Greece and Turkey was being given. The newly formed United Nations was provided humanitarian assistance. U.S. President Harry Truman appointed George Marshall, the architect of victory during World War II, to be Secretary of State. In just a few months, the State Department, under his leadership, with expertise provided by George Kennan, William Clayton, and others, crafted the Marshall Plan concept, which George Marshall shared with the world in a speech on June 5, 1947, at Harvard University.
Never before has one nation carried a greater responsibility for the fate of others in time of peace. Reduced to its simplest form, the bulky Paris report meant that America must again send ammunition overseas. Ammunition for peace, in the form of food, machinery, skills, and dollars. Figures quoted reached $17 billion. Americans heard that until this long-range plan goes into action, stopgap aid was needed. Austria, Italy, and France were declared to be in desperate straits by Secretary Marshall.
In order to meet this emergency, I recommend that you give immediate and urgent consideration to a bill authorizing the appropriation of sufficient funds to provide the supplies necessary to permit the people of these countries to continue to eat, to work, and to survive the winter.
Before Christmas, more than $500 million were made available, and the President affixed his signature to an interim aid authorization bill.
Hey kid, come here please. I have some questions for you. Right. Do you think that the Marshall Plan was helpful for Europe?
Yes, because Europe is in ruins.
And do you agree with it?
Yes, but at the same time I'm afraid because the US spent a lot of money.
That's a good thought. I have to think about it. Thanks. Hi, can I ask you some questions about the Marshall Plan?
Yes.
Why do you think that the Marshall Plan, that the Soviet Union did not want a Marshall Plan?
I believe they believed if the Marshall Plan was an attempt to interfere with internal affairs of the other states.
And what do you think that would have happened if the plan did not take place?
I believe that Europe wouldn't wouldn't have a European recovery program.
Have you learned what is the Marshall Plan?
Yes, I believe I have, I have a splendid teacher at Grammy Private School, and I believe that's the European Recovery Program.
You're right. Yeah. Thanks. Goodbye. Don't change the channel. Stay watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That's coming next here at GenJar News. My name is Genesis Cadiz, and
Darlene Diaz.
thanks for your attention.
Me perdí. Que no puede ser
Silencio.
No, tú sabes.
Europe was devastated. Europe was devastated by years of conflicts during World War II. Millions of people have been killed or wounded. Industrial and residential.
Estúpida, cállate la boca. Que te calles, estúpida. Como siempre, bueno, parece una vieja. Estúpida.
Hi, may I ask you some questions about the Marshall Plan? I haven't finished my question.
Como tú vuelvas a gritar, te voy a partir la cara.
¡Derecho, Cere! ¿Qué te pasa?
¡Permiso!
Has your American teacher teach you what the Marshall Plan is?
American teacher, loca.
Boja eso.
Ya, una
Okay. Have you learned what is the Marshall Plan and what have you learned?
I've learned so many things about the Marshall Plan. It's so fun and entertaining. My teacher, Mrs. Cruz, she's like the best. Sit down.